Awakening your everyday wisdom. Mind control. Do you really control your own thoughts? Most of us like to think that we do, but there are some very interesting characters out there who are very intent on controlling your thoughts. Not only your thoughts, but your beliefs, especially your purchasing decisions. So in this video, we're going to take a look at not only these divisive ways that we're being controlled, but also some benefits of mind control. So it's not all dark, but there is a dark side going on that we need to be aware of. So that's what this is all about. When we think of beneficial mind control, that's going to be in the area of raising our children, managing elementary school, and other grades. So those are some examples of what I mean by positive mind control. And we'll take a look in part A about how we're being controlled unwittingly. And in part B, I'll give some suggestions on ways that you can protect yourself a little bit, and also ways to use your everyday wisdom to tap into what you think and believe outside of the controls. Sometimes when we think of mind control, we think of programs to help us control our own minds, like meditation. There are a lot of practices that people do to calm the monkey mind. And I remember back in the 70s, there was a program called the Silva Mind Control. I've heard positive and negatives about that. But the idea of that kind of mind control is just getting control of yourself. But that's not what this video is about. We're going to talk about not only mind control, but brainwashing. So let me start with a few definitions. I'm going to read these to you so I get them right. Mind control is also known as manipulation, thought reform, brainwashing, mental control, coercive persuasion, coercive control, malignant use of group dynamics, and many others. So another definition, simply put, mind control comes under the umbrella of persuasion and influence, how to change people's beliefs and behaviors. So let's look at brainwashing. These definitions come from the freedictionary.com. So brainwashing is the intensive, forcible indoctrination, usually political or religious, aimed at destroying a person's basic convictions and attitudes and replacing them with an alternative set of fixed beliefs. It's the application of a concentrated means of persuasion, such as an advertising campaign or repeated suggestion, in order to develop a specific belief or motivation. And one more definition of brainwashing: a method for systematically changing attitudes or altering beliefs, especially through the use of torture, drugs, or psychological stress techniques. Do not underestimate the amount of money that is being spent on controlling you and all of us. It's a lot, billions of dollars. So if you think that you are not subject to mind control, you need to take another look. There are very sophisticated techniques taking place right now. I'll get into that a little bit more. Another warning: you are very easy to read. If you think you live a private life, tell your face, because our faces divulge a tremendous amount of information about us. the way we twitch, the way we might smile or frown, the way our eyes dart from one side to the other. All of these are telltale signs. For an example, neurolinguistic programming, NLP for short, it is designed to help people read people. I was taught this in my coach training, so I could see where my clients were coming from by whether they looked up or down or what they did. And there's also a lot of neurolinguistic programming that's used to study the behavior, attitudes, words of successful people, so that people who want to become successful can pattern themselves after that. Now, that could be very beneficial. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's there. And if you think that you can't be read easily, think again. Another warning, the manipulators. Now, this is a term I'm going to use to describe the people who do the research and create the programs and the devices and the campaigns to exercise mind control. So the manipulators have a goal, and their goal is to change your mind about what you think is best for you to buy or believe or subscribe to. So they have a goal of having you buy their product or believe their propaganda or whatever they're aiming at. And they are extremely clever. These are scientists we're talking about that study this stuff day in and day out. You and I, average citizen, we don't have time to study how to manipulate the brain of another person. These folks do, and they're using modern neuroscience and neurotechnology to enhance their abilities. Give you an example. The advent of the MRI, and I'm not quite sure how long it's been around, maybe, I don't even want to guess, but it's fairly recent. So in an MRI, they can take a brain scan and give messages to the person they're scanning and watch what parts of the brain light up, the little neurons and the neural networks. And then they can do a different message and see how that responds to the brain responds to that. And they hone their message in a way to stimulate the parts of the brain that have you believing, longing, wanting what they're selling. It's very clever. I would just recommend not even watching commercials if you can help it. Anyhow, I'll go on. Let's talk about the benefits of mind control. Now, I mentioned earlier raising our kids. We need to enculturate our families and societies. And so many ways that we do that is through mind control. And parents, educators, the clergy, healers, we all use mind control tactics. Now, hopefully, we do that in a scrupulous way to benefit the people that we're working with, but it can also, unfortunately, be used in abusive ways. And some kids that have been mentally abused have a lifelong struggle to find out who they really are and what they really think. It's pretty sad. And if you think it only happens in that part of town or that society, you're wrong. It's pretty evenly spread. So, another warning. The typical mind control techniques that we use that we might call benign would include giving rewards, treats, or punishments. Those are very effective methodologies. offering choices that actually have the same outcome. Like a parent might say, well, do you want to play in your sandbox outside, or do you want to build a tent in the family room? The same goal, occupying the kids, but it's making the kids feel like they have a choice on what they do. Repetition, emotional manipulation. If you do that, I'm going to be sad or angry. Or if you do that, I'll be happy. You'll please me. And that's emotional manipulation. Isolation, timeout, rejection is a really strong mind control technique. Stories, especially stories with a moral message. Stories capture our attention, they get us engaged, and it stimulates a part of the brain that wants to know more. So think about these things. So, interestingly enough, some of these methods are what we would use in a positive way to enculturate our families, but they're also very similar methods used in destructive ways. Now, let's talk about a little more on the positive side, healthcare and healing. There are really great ways to engage the mind to help the body heal. One of those is mindfulness-based stress reduction. That's a mouthful. MBSR are the initials that you might see. So this is John Kabat-Zinn, and he found out that by using meditation techniques, he could help people dramatically reduce their pain for chronic pain patients. And then they started applying it to other areas. So if you're suffering from a health condition, you might check out this mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's a pretty tremendous program, and it's all about mind control. Another one is biofeedback. Now, biofeedback is a methodology where you take information from the body and present it to the person in an objective way, and the person can then use their mind to decide what to change and what to integrate on the inner workings of the body. It's pretty cool, too. Hypnotherapy is another way that mind control is used in a positive way. For the most part, most hypnotherapists are sworn to high ethics, so I think you could trust it. But it's very, very effective. It gets right to the subconscious mind, and it uses repetition. Interesting. The placebo effect. You know, it's really funny when every now and then I'll hear somebody say, oh, well, that's just the result of the placebo. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. I go, well, look at that. If the body healed and it was just a sugar pill or a fake surgery, doesn't that tell you the power of the mind? You know, let's not discount the placebo effect. It is strong. It is the mind showing us what it's capable of. Electric shock therapy, according to an article on webmd.com, sometimes electroshock therapy is the best approach for some clients. And that's also mind control. It's stimulating and shocking certain parts of the mind, the brain, to activate or deactivate. So those are some positive uses of mind control. Let's take a look at the dark side. Political agendas. The power elite and politicians have known for many, many, many years how to affect voter mind. If you think you're not subjected to it, think again. We've got a lot of disinformation, misinformation, fake news. It's all coming to light. Advertisers, boy, are they great. These are brilliant people now. I'm not talking about the average person in many ways when I talk about advertisers. And I already mentioned how they're using the brain studies, the neuroscience in their methodology. Subliminal stimulation. Now, according to an article published online by aon.com and written by Robert Epstein, in 1974, the Federal Communications Commission decided that this subliminal stimulation wasn't in the best interest of the public. And that even was brought up to Congress to introduce legislation to put some controls over it, but it was never enacted. So if you think you're sitting there watching TV and you're only getting the message that you hear, think again. And then here's just an example. Now, I know I could be opening up some doors for some fruit to be thrown in my face, rotten fruit, but Trump's mind control superpowers. There's a very interesting article online, and it's from independent.co.uk. And it's all about the amazing ability that the Trump organization has had in bringing people around to support and create popularity. It's also mentioned how Trump's been able to turn around some of the naysayers in the Republican Party by using some of these techniques. And it's got an example with a little video and everything. I didn't look at all of it. I'm just telling you it's there. Now, here's the one that scares me, gives me nightmares. It's the military-grade mind control. I'm just going to talk about a few of these, but please know that billions of dollars are being spent on them. You can research them for yourself. The two most visible programs are called MK Ultra and MK Delta. And you will need a strong backbone when you check into these. They're pretty horrific. Electromagnetic radiation, electrotransmissions, noise, hypersonic sound can travel 450 feet and make groups of people throw up, get migraine headaches, get completely disoriented. This is by pointing a machine at a group of people, pulling the trigger, it emits this sound that we probably can't even hear with our ears. And all of a sudden, this whole group of people just kind of disintegrates into these weeping blobs. So that to me is very, very scary. And one of the devices, there are several, is called HIDA, High Intensity Directed Acoustics. Check into it if you don't believe me. So here's one that I still question. It's chemtrails. I absolutely don't want to believe that our government is putting chemicals into the atmosphere that comes down and we breathe it, and the intention is to dumb us down and make us easier to control and manipulate. Do you want to believe that? Not me, but there's a lot of evidence, information, maybe disinformation, but there's a lot of talk about it, so it probably isn't nothing. Check into it. So that's all the ugly and the bad. If you want to stay tuned for some hope and some methodologies that you can use to protect yourself and access your everyday wisdom, stay tuned for part B. Thank you. Thank you for listening and participating in this video. If you'd like to chat, here's my email address. Feel free to contact me. I'm here to provide support. And please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. Blessings.